And our top story right now on the WHAS11 night team, it is on land right now. Take a look, folks. We're tracking Hurricane Milton right now at 11 o'clock. The powerful storm making landfall at about 2.5 hours ago, 8:30 this evening, smashing right into Florida, just south of Tampa Bay and Siesta Key. WHAS11's own John Humphreys is there live. He is moving around on the roads there. This is the view from him at the moment. Tampa, as the hurricane sits atop of parts of that city. Around 200,000 people were asked to evacuate Tampa, the most in more than 50 years. And hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on the night team. We've got a lot of coverage for you right here tonight. So far, deaths are being reported from a tornado that hit the Spanish Lakes Country Club Village in Fort Pierce on the eastern coastline. Several people are dead. Now, our chief meteorologist, Ben Pine, has been tracking Milton. And Ben, so far, it's as bad as it's been predicted. We fear by tomorrow the human toll could be much worse.
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to have to wait until sunrise, till daylight to discover what destruction has really happened. But approaching 2 million without power over central Florida, west central Florida. So the storm made landfall, Milton, here at around 8:30 p.m. around Siesta Key near Sarasota. Had a wind gust reported around 102 miles per hour. So obviously doing very damaging things here over Florida, as it has weakened from a Category 3 to a Category 2. Winds at around 105 miles per hour maximum. Most of the winds aren't quite that strong. The storm is cruising basically parallel to Interstate 4 that connects Tampa over towards Orlando. Orlando is next, already starting to see some of that heavy rainfall, and there are flash flood warnings all the way from Tampa toward Orlando. So as you can see with the path of Milton, the forecast here, the latest from the National Hurricane Center, continuing to move off to the east-northeast at around 16 miles per hour. Very near or just south of Orlando. This is around 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And notice already starting to move off the coast before sunrise at 5:40 a.m. and then well into the Atlantic Ocean as we head through the rest of our Thursday. Again, it's going to be daylight before we see the widespread destruction that this storm has caused.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. Now we want to give you another view as you're looking live from EarthCam right over Florida. The state bracing against the winds reaching more than 120 miles per hour, as Ben just told us, and the storm is now inching across the Panhandle. And right as Milton was moving onshore south of Tampa at Siesta Key in St. Matthews here in Louisville, the prayers started. The pastor at St. Matthews United Methodist Church called for everyone to think of Florida. And then there was communion. WHAS11 night team's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Levi Hammer were in the sanctuary filled with concern for the outcome in Florida.
A special service at St. Matthews United Methodist Church about 1 hour before landfall.
For those who will bury the dead and comfort their loved ones.
Coming together in prayer.
Lord, give them compassion.
For those in the path of Hurricane Milton, hundreds of miles away.
People are asking the question, where is God in all of this? And I think tonight's an important reminder that God is with us, even during the most troubling times, that in the midst of disaster, we can turn to God and know that God is there.
Brenda Freilich has been going to this St. Matthew's Church for 50 years.
It's our home. It's our home church.
The Freilichs also have a home in eastern Florida that was boarded up by her neighbors in preparation of the Category 3 hurricane.
And I just got a warning on my ring that a tornado warning for us, which have been happening all day.
Watching the storm come in from her home church in Louisville, a Louisville native, Denise Vasquez Troutman, watches from her home in South Tampa.
The road is becoming an ocean, basically. There's probably about 8 inches in the actual street in front of my building, and the water's rising out of our pool here. But I'm on the second floor, so I feel safe.
Vasquez Troutman chose to stay in Tampa to be close to her children and dog.
We are Tampa strong.
A message of strength and faith spreading from Florida to Kentucky.
I just pray that they have the strength and the courage and just stay strong, you know, through all of this. And I know that the people in Florida are strong.
While hymns play,
we bring these prayers to you, knowing that you hear them and those unspoken in our hearts.
Floridians continue to brace for the rest of the storm to pass. In Louisville, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS11 night team on your side.
St. Matthew's United Methodist Church on Browns Lane has sent relief supplies to the Carolinas to help with the devastation of Hurricane Helene. The church is now also putting together flood relief packages to send off to Florida to help the victims of Milton. We've got a link on how to donate. You linked right to this story on our website. You can find it at WHAS11.com. Now to the other breaking news story tonight. Flames tearing through a longtime vacant church just east of downtown Louisville, just east of the downtown business district. WHAS 1119 photojournalist Aspen Hester on the scene shortly after Louisville firefighters arrived, capturing this amazing video as the structure made of stone, ancient wood, and also some modern buildings behind it went up in flames tonight. Louisville Fire Department says even though the church is vacant, they got reports of people in the place, with one victim running from the fire. Major flames lighting up the night sky behind the 188-year-old St. Paul Evangelical Church of Christ, on fire at Preston and East Broadway.
A vacant structure with possible people hanging out the window with smoke coming from the roof. Fire crews arrived on scene within 2 minutes.
Louisville firefighters pouring water on it at a rate of 1,000 gallons per minute just before 8 p.m. At the same time, trying to figure out reports of a victim.
We tried to locate that victim and get them to a med unit, but they did flee the scene, so we did not get any medical attention to them.
Black smoke swirling out of the buildings behind the church as the flames intensified. Firefighters doing their best, but more of the rooftop catching fire. Water pouring on the fire from everywhere, jetting through what was at one time stained glass windows, greeting parishioners.
It's an old church like this. You know how they were built back a long time ago. You have heavy timber, and that stuff, once it gets burning, burns a lot. You can see we have about 5 master stream aerials up in the air, just pouring as much water as we can.
Louisville Fire getting spotlights on the building, showing the grand old church facing Broadway. Historian Steve Weiser, with people sending him photos of the flames to him at home, says the congregation left here 30 years ago. Since then, it's been a combination of healthcare centers, but once even had a future.
And it was supposed to be incorporated into a hotel development at that location, and that's been pending for the last number of years. A group out of Nashville was proposing a hotel there.
The towering stone structure holding up, challenged by intense flames and endless water. Firefighters saying they've been called here in the past for fires, a once holy site, now partly ashes. Louisville firefighters stating tonight that they did not find any victims at the scene and no firefighters were hurt tonight, thankfully, because it's a massive fire with the smoke still rising over Broadway tonight. Weiser says the only hope left for the church is that it was so well built nearly 200 years ago that the prominent structure possibly stands, but firefighters will also determine if it's too much of a hazard. That investigation will move ahead tomorrow. More local news here from the night team. Fern Creek High School is adding new safety precautions for upcoming home football games. In a letter sent off to parents, Fern Creek said they will begin making all guests go through a metal detector before entering the games. Fans also cannot wear any masks or bring backpacks or bags to the event. They're all banned. All guests under 18 must have a student ID for the schools playing or be accompanied by a legal guardian. These new guidelines coming after 2 teenagers were shot during a football game more than 2 weeks ago. One of the teenagers, a 17-year-old, died from his injuries in the hospital just yesterday. Fern Creek High School does have a home game this Friday night. And also new on the night team, Election Day is coming up with a chance for change at Jefferson County Public Schools. We're talking about school board members chosen by your vote on the ballot in November. 2 candidates debated tonight. They want to fill the District 4 seat, which covers Southwest Jefferson County. WHAS 1119's Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Aspen Hester have more on the top issues facing parents and students in this part of town.
Thank you to both of our candidates for being here.
Trevin Bass and Barbara Lewis making their positions known as they hope to earn a spot on Jefferson County School Board. Both JCPS grads whose children also went through the school system, getting some of their toughest questions from students themselves.
They would all like to know, what time do you think all schools should start and end at the earliest and latest?
That's a good question.
The kids listen at an event they were brought to for education purposes.
I think they're bored to death, as most people would be, because it's not a very entertaining event, but it underscores the importance of staying actively engaged even when you're bored.
The board will have to pick a new superintendent with Marty Pulio retiring. Bass says he's looking for a candidate who's interested in inclusion and is open to making changes, saying the size of the district shouldn't be a concern for the next superintendent.
I don't think the size really should be an issue, long as you have the idea of making things better, as long as your intentions are great. The size really shouldn't matter.
Lewis said she did not know enough to speak on splitting the school district up, but believes the next superintendent should have compassion for teachers, parents, and students.
What is his concerns or her concerns for the community dynamics and for our family engagement, and how would they address that?
Lewis believes a more aggressive approach should be taken on transportation issues.
We have churches, we have community partners who have already taken the lead way to ensure that members of their community, members of their congregation, their children are getting to school safely.
While Bass hears concerns in arrival times when it comes to transportation.
At that point, we're making sure we get the drivers. We have the buses. We just want to make sure we have the drivers, make sure that they're safe, they're secured.
Both candidates are hoping to be a part of the major changes coming next school year. In Louisville, Clarice Shaley with photojournalist Aspen Hester, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
Election day, of course, is Tuesday, November 5th. Early voting right here in Kentucky begins on October 31st. Right here new tonight, Louisville Metro Police Department has arrested a murder suspect after a short-foot pursuit. LMPD says just after 4 this afternoon, they arrested this man, William Irvin, in connection with a deadly shooting that happened last month. According to the court documents, Irvin shot 18-year-old Jarek Young after Young left the JJ Food Mart on Dixie Highway. Police say Young then jumped into a waiting vehicle and fled the scene. Irvin has been charged with murder and is expected to appear in court tomorrow morning. It is now day 2 of the trial of the man accused of hitting a Kansas family visiting Louisville. Hit them with his car in downtown Louisville. They were on a sidewalk 2 years ago. Their father was killed in the crash. Police say Michael Hurley admitted to taking hydrocodone before hitting the Jones family in July of 2022 at 2nd and Market. Trey Jones was killed, and for the first time today, his father taking the stand. Today, his dad described the moments he and his grandson made the decision to pull Trey off life support.
Did Hunter actually have to sign the paperwork to take him off life support? And did you counsel and advise him that?
Yeah, he grew up real fast.
When his car actually hit them, I saw more like the bodies flying above the truck.
That's Deborah Johnson on the stand speaking. She recalled the shocking scene she witnessed that night downtown. She testified that she saw Hurley drive into the Jones family, and then she quickly ran to help the mother, Amy. Amy will appear on the stand tomorrow here in Louisville, along with daughter Ava Jones. Court is set to begin at 8:30. WHAS 11's Jose Alonso is covering the trial.